Until modern science proved them right, these 7 creatures were called complete fake by scientists. Today, you'll discover the shocking evidence that changed everything. Starting with the first creature, the narwhal, also known as the sea unicorn. For centuries, sailors swore they'd seen mysterious whales breaking through the Arctic ice with their spiral horns glistening in the sun, but scientists dismissed it as frostbitten fantasy, or perhaps the tusk of a walrus misremembered. But in 1576, explorers returned from Greenland carrying a 9-foot tusk that twisted like carved ivory. It wasn't bone from any land creature, but grew straight from a whale's skull. Later dissections revealed something stranger still, that the tusk was actually a tooth, packed with millions of nerve endings capable of sensing water pressure, temperature, and even nearby prey. Could the myth of unicorns have been born from this creature of ice and silence? Well, yes, because the proof was swimming beneath frozen seas all along. What seemed magical was pure, living science, a reminder that legends sometimes hide behind layers of ice, waiting to surface. And just as the narwhal rose from the icy depths, the next creature shocked scientists deep in the jungles of Africa, the Okapi, also known as forest giraffe. For centuries, explorers in the Congo spoke of a half-zebra, half-giraffe creature hiding beneath the rainforest canopy, in which scientists dismissed it as fantasy, as the idea of a striped jungle creature sounded impossible. But locals told stories of the Ati, a shy forest spirit that vanished whenever humans came near with strange hoofprints, and which made the hunters feel something large move silently between the trees. For the scientific world, it was nothing more than superstition. Then, in 1901, British explorer Harry Johnston brought back skulls and skins, proof that the myth was real. What made scientists so sure it couldn't exist? It was because they never reached the darkest of the forest. The Okapi had been there all along, a living bridge between giraffe and zebra. Even today, few have seen one in the wild, which proof that some wonders still prefer the shadows. If the Okapi fooled explorers on land, here, the next creature, the platypus, made the entire scientific world question reality itself. When British naturalists in 1799 received a strange specimen from Australia, a creature with a duck's bill, webbed feet, and a beaver's tail, they were convinced it was fake. Some even accused the explorers of stitching animal parts together to create a hoax. But when scientists dissected it, the truth shattered logic. The platypus laid eggs like a reptile, nursed its young like a mammal, and even produced venom strong enough to paralyze prey. Its bill could sense electric fields, detecting movement underwater without sight. Could something this strange truly exist? Yes, every piece of it was real. Nature had written its own experiment, proving that imagination sometimes lags behind reality. For years, biologists didn't know how to classify it, while some called it a mistake of creation and others say, it's a puzzle from God's workshop. Yet today, the platypus stands as living proof that evolution doesn't follow rules, it invents them. If the platypus made scientists question biology, the next creature made them question their own eyes, the great white wolf. Because for generations, Arctic hunters spoke of an enormous wolf that vanished into blizzards, its pale fur blending with the snow. Scientists dismissed it, claiming no such species could ever survive that cold. But then, in 1935, explorers uncovered a frozen carcass, larger than any known wolf, with dense white fur and long, narrow fangs adapted for sub-zero hunts. DNA testing decades later confirmed it as Canis lupus albus, a real northern subspecies long thought mythical. Locals told of its eerie silence, how it could cross miles of snow without leaving a sound, with its breath vanishing in the cold like smoke. Hunters said the pack appeared only during whiteouts, when the sky and earth became one endless sheet of ice. Could legends of ghost wolves have been based on this survivor of the ice? Because the animal's camouflage and isolation made it nearly invisible to human eyes, maybe it didn't vanish, we simply couldn't see it. In a land ruled by silence, it became the echo of nature's most elusive predator. However, our next creature, the Komodo dragon, thrived where fire and heat forged legends of dragons. Sailors from Indonesia once returned, claiming they'd seen a fire-breathing monster, a scaled giant that moved like smoke across the volcanic islands. They spoke of claws that carved through sand and eyes that gleamed like burning coals. Meanwhile, the scholars laughed at it, calling it another sailor's tale, born from heat and hallucination. Then, in 1910, Lieutenant von Stein-Hensbruck captured a 10-foot reptile with serrated teeth and venomous saliva, proof that myth had been mistaken for madness. Was dragon really the wrong word? Not at all, because the Komodo could bring down deer, buffalo, even wild boar with a single bite. Its venom stopped blood from clotting while infection spread swiftly through the wound. It hunted with patience, tracking wounded prey for miles, guided by scent and instinct older than humanity itself. In its sun-scorched kingdom of dust and stone, the Komodo dragon ruled like a survivor from another era. Proof that sometimes evolution remembers its monsters. But the rhinoceros looked far less monstrous and fooled scientists for centuries. Travelers returning from Africa and India told stories of powerful horned animals that could knock down elephants. Their skin was thick and strong like armor, and when they charged, nothing could stop them. But scholars who had never seen such creatures couldn't imagine they were real. Instead, they drew unicorns to explain. When real specimens finally arrived in Europe, disbelief turned to awe as everything matched the myth, only stripped of fantasy and revealed as fact. Could humanity's unicorn legend have begun when travelers saw these animals from afar? Though, their horns are made of the same material as hair and nails, which likely caused confusion. From a distance, they may have looked like magical one-horned creatures. Even ancient rhinoceroses that lived in colder regions inspired cave paintings of one-horned giants. The rhinoceros-proved myth and truth often share the same bones. They were once feared as a monster, but it became a symbol of endurance and, over time, of peace and protection. And finally, the mountain gorilla. For centuries, tales spoke of monstrous hairy men living in the misty mountains, giant apes that kidnapped humans and vanished into the fog. Villagers talked about roars that echoed through the jungle in the night, and explorers returning home with stories of glowing eyes and shattered trees. Scientists mocked the idea as fantasy, a myth of the unknown. Then, in 1902, explorer Captain Robert von Beringe shot one and proved they were real mountain gorillas. Far from monsters, they were peaceable herbivores, gentle, social, and deeply intelligent. In time, researchers unraveled complex family bonds, soft vocal communications, and moments of play that mirrored human tenderness. It wasn't until decades later that the world saw footage of them alive, and when they did, everything changed. Was the beast of legend misunderstood from the very start? Because the gorilla showed how fear twists truth. What people once called monsters were, in the end, reflections of ourselves, powerful, emotional, and profoundly alive. They've taught scientists humility and reshaped our compassion for wildlife. 7 creatures. 7 times scientists got it completely wrong. Which one shocked you the most? Drop your answer in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and share it with your friends. It really helps the channel and keeps me motivated to bring you even more mysterious stories from around the world. See you next time.